We are all around fascinated by our peers, friends, and people that we see that can do amazing things. This can be considered amazing physical feats and amazing mental feats. But really, where do these all come from? What gives us the ability to do such things? The answer, if you think about it, is the brain. And if that was what you were thinking, then you're on the right track. Now, to understand how all of this happens, we need to gain more knowledge about the topic. And as you've heard me say in my previous video, knowledge is power. And when we come to the final video, you're going to see how understanding that these things are there and understanding how they function is what's going to help you be able to do the same with your very own brain. Now, it's always good for motivation and better understanding to receive examples of real world and real life people who can do things like these. However, before we begin, I need to make a very important note and explanation. You can find more about this or more about the scientific way in which this works on the website powersofbrain.webs.com. But it is important to understand and acknowledge the fact that some of these feats do not come naturally. Some of these feats have been induced due to physical trauma that has occurred to these individuals. Some of these feats are a product of autistic savantism. So, before these discourage you, understand that these are things that the human brain has been able to do, and you might be able to come very close to them, but you might not necessarily be able to do them yourself, simply because these people have severe weaknesses in other fields due to the way that their brain has been structured, either as a birth abnormality or due to some outside impact. However, I do want to start with my first example, Ramon Campayo, as a person who has an absolutely normal brain and has been able to accomplish very impressive feats of brain power. Now, Ramon Campayo has a remarkable memory, so much so he has earned the title of being the fast memory champion of the world. To give you an idea of how sharp this guy's memory is, he is able to memorize a string of 48 binary numbers in a mere second. For a visual, 48 binary numbers looks like this. He can memorize in 4 seconds 96 numbers, which looks more like this. Ramon is not a savant. He has no super abilities in his brain, but is instead just an ordinary man with an incredibly trained mind. Another example of his prowess is that he can memorize assortments of 17 integers in a half second. While people generally repeat a phone number to themselves several times in order to memorize this, Mr. Campayo can look at approximately 5 sets of phone numbers for 1 second and remember them all. Talk about special powers that would have come in handy during high school, right? Now the next example is Kim Peek. And you've probably heard about this man before, and you can watch a very interesting Hollywood film made about this man called Rain Man. But Kim Peek is a fascinating man, or was, who passed on with a monster of a memory. He was simply a walking hard drive. Kim Peek was a savant, or as some like to call him, a mega savant, with congenital brain abnormalities, as I was mentioning before, resulting in problems like social detachment and stratification, but also resulted in a very interesting power, a photographic memory. In Peek's case, the nerves that connected the two hemispheres of the brain were entirely missing when he was born. Alternative connectors were all gone too, such as the anterior commission, which is one of the connectors that runs along the front of the brain. Peek began memorizing things at 16 to 20 months of age, starting with books. Before he passed in 2009, His count of completely memorized books was well over 12,000. Unfortunately, Kim Peek passed in 2009 due to a heart problem. His hope was to help people in his condition with savantism make use of the powerful abilities that they may not know lied within them. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to follow on to the next video to learn more about what you can do with your brain to reach that level that you want and strive for.